Save It for the Blind is sponsored by Kershaw Knives. Kershaw manufactures next-level pocket knives for outdoor enthusiasts. Save It for the Blind is now also being sponsored by Roseville Motorsports. Roseville Motorsports is the greater Sacramento area's premier destination for all your power sports vehicle needs. Stop in today to browse off-road vehicles from leading manufacturers like Polaris, Yamaha, and more. Rig 'em right, heavily seasoned gear for the die-hard waterfowl hunter. If you guys are enjoying the show, we'd love to hear from you and get your support. Please follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Give us a 5-star rating. Your reviews really help us grow and reach more people. Thank you for being a part of our community.
You guys still hunting back there? Like duck hunting?
Yeah, back and forth. I haven't gotten to be doing a whole lot of hunting quite yet, or just recently, just because I'm trying to spend as much time with the family before I head off again.
Yeah.
So it's kind of taking a back burner at the moment. Just doing it as I can, a lot less traveling.
Yeah, I hear you.
So
you got young kids, right?
Once ball starts. What's that?
You have young kids?
Yeah, I got 3 little girls.
Nice.
Yeah, so nothing better, but just trying to cherish those moments while I can, because I know I'm going to leave again for, 8-9 months. So
yeah,
like I said, soaking in the time at home while we have it.
Right on. Now, do you live in Georgia now?
I do, yeah, okay. Yeah. We built a house in our hometown, so I grew up with my wife, and so both of our families are still, all local. So
awesome.
It's kind of where we're planning to be forever.
How small of a town is it?
We got 1 red light, so
hey, that's
pretty
good.
Small.
Yeah,
live on a dirt road, so yeah, no complaints.
So how big was your high school?
Oh man, I think my graduation class was 120 maybe.
Oh, okay.
So not terrible, but yeah, I mean it's growing a little bit now since I've graduated, which it's time flies, as we know, and it seems like forever ago now. But
yeah,
I mean it's still a very, very small town, farm town. So just trying to keep it like that for as long as we can.
That's awesome. Is there much duck hunting there?
Not a whole lot. I mean, it's mostly like little swamps. Okay. A lot of wood ducks.
Wood ducks, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of woodies, and that's pretty much it. I mean, we'll get occasional mallards push in or some teal, but yeah, I mean, it's not like that's our regular. It's you guys definitely have a better layout of land than we do as far as that aspect.
Yeah. Did you hunt much while you were out here with the Giants?
I hunted Sacramento a lot.
Okay.
I know a good group of guys out there, and phenomenal spots. So I loved it. I mean, I tell people all the time, it's kind of surprising to say that California has one of the best duck huntings, spots that I've been to, but it's real.
Yeah, no, we're lucky to be out here, but you're right. Like a lot of people that have never been out to California, they just kind of assume like San Francisco Bay Area, right. LA, and then for the most part, it's just kind of rural farmland and good duck hunting. So exactly.
No, the big cities kind of overshadow it, but yeah, I mean, for the like you guys, for the locals, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast today. So here with Carson Odegard and 2-time World Series champion Hunter Strickland. Just want to say thank you so much for coming on. We're going to talk about duck hunting, obviously baseball, and some business endeavors, but kind of what started your baseball career? You grew up in a small town, drafted out of high school. Kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, very small town. My dad played back in the day, and so it was, like I said, it's being in a small town. It's I'm one of 7, so it was pretty chaotic in our house. And so he'd always kick us outside and just say, go figure it out. Go play in the street, or go jump in a lake, or go play ball. And that was kind of our day to day. So, we'd go outside, and, I got some older brothers, and we'd just pick up a ball and figure it out, and, just play rundowns or whatever we could think of, and just spent most of our time outside. And that's kind of what led into sports and hunting and, all of those scenarios. So, I mean, that's pretty much the path. I mean, I knew early on that I loved baseball. I think partly just because it felt natural to me. It was a competitive game as a young kid, and then just trying to be like my older brothers and trying to be like my dad. Like I said, he played a little bit when when he was younger. So just trying to, look up to them and follow suit, I guess.
Did any of your older brothers end up making it?
They all played high school.
Okay.
And then one of my brothers went to play at AVES, as an agricultural college. But then he kind of just went a different path and went into the farming industry. And that's actually the one that helped me create AVES.
Okay.
And then my youngest brother, he played college football.
Gotcha. Nice.
So
when you were growing up, did you ever kind of contemplate baseball over other sports due to the off season being for hunting, the ability to go hunt?
No, I mean, that definitely played a part,
Yeah.
that's a positive note for sure. Cause like you said, baseball's off season is hunting season, which you get the best of both worlds in that aspect. So, I'm not complaining one bit about that,
Yeah.
But as far as other sports, I mean, I grew up playing football and playing, through high school and stuff. And I loved it. I think that every kid should experience other team sports or whatever that may be, and just endeavors. And, but I kind of always knew that baseball was my love and my passion, and, kind of what I was more natural at.
Were you, like, growing up, were you, like, well above all the other kids kind of in your age or bracket, in Little League, et cetera?
Not really. No. I do think that early on, like I said, 3 older brothers, it definitely helped to play up, to play with some better competition, but I couldn't really compete with them at that standpoint. But, so, for me, it was kind of a sense of a late bloomer, I guess.
Yeah.
I started playing on some travel ball teams, and, just kind of as we started growing up, and, it's one of those things where, I wasn't the starter. I wasn't, I had to beat some guys out. And for me, looking back on it, I wouldn't change it for anything, because I think that helps create a work ethic, a drive that, you really can't teach. You've got to want it, and you've got to go get it. So having better competition and having older guys ahead of you, it makes you work harder. And I think that's one thing that I've learned and been, really, really focused on, is just trying to be the hardest worker out there and trusting the process. And, ultimately, here we are.
Yeah. Was
So
there, like,
it's been a great ride, no doubt about it. And
like, growing up, you got drafted out of high school and you went in the minors. Was there a conversation with your dad or anyone in the family of, potentially going to college first and then, getting drafted later, or just going right out of the gate out of high school? Like, how did that?
Yeah, no. Right. No, in high school, I knew, like, at that point, I knew that professional baseball was my dream. And it was, in my hometown, it just didn't happen. We never seen it happen out of our high school. And, but that was more incentive for me to, and more drive for me to go do it. And I kind of liked being the underdog in that aspect. But like I said, when I got to high school, I was more of a one-track mind. I mean, obviously you got to make good grades to stay on the team, but college wasn't my dream. I didn't know anything about going into the draft. I just know I wanted an opportunity. And, once I had that opportunity, it was up to me to either make the best of it or not make it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of I signed at a junior college, Chipola in Florida. Because I didn't know I was going to get drafted. There was some talks here and there. There was obviously some scouts coming to some of the games or whatnot, but it wasn't a shoe-in for me. And then it's kind of a funny story, kind of a running joke in our family. Anytime I really need something good to happen within my career, they always tell me to just go get on a roof and start building a roof, because I grew up building houses. So my family builds houses. And I was actually on a roof, or, building a house, putting a roof on, when I got the call that I got drafted.
Oh,
So
cool.
my agent called me. It's crazy. So yeah, my agent or advisor at the time calls me. He's like, "Hey, congratulations. You've been drafted in 18th round by the Red Sox." And so obviously I was pretty excited about it, still on top of a roof. Tell my dad, and he was like, "Man, that's awesome. Congrats. Now get back to work." So It's kind of one of those things. And, fast forward a couple of years, with Pittsburgh, I got protected on the 40-man roster, and I was actually on a roof again, putting a roof on when that happened, when I got that phone call. So that's kind of the backstory of that running joke within the family.
That's pretty good. Is there a point where you kind of realize, like, okay, I'm going to make it. Like, I can do this. I can be, a starting player in the major leagues and not be a traveling, AAA or AA player for the rest of my life? Was there a moment where that kind of clicked and you're like, all right, this is it?
Yes and no. I mean, I think, like I said, when I got drafted, it was 18th round out of high school, and most guys would just decide to go to college and roll the dice and try to get drafted higher later. But like I said, I just wanted an opportunity. I knew where my passion and my vision was, and I wanted an opportunity, and that was it, And so for me, it was going into the minor league system. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I was 18 years old and just, never really left. And so it was just kind of thrown out there, and you just got to go figure it out. But I had the vision, I had the dream, and obviously I was in the minor leagues for 7 or so years, a couple of surgeries. So a couple of surgeries derailed that plan a little bit, and make you realize, like, hey, here's a little bit of adversity thrown at you. What are you going to do with it? And so I think 2011, I had shoulder surgery, and I know I was rehabbing that, and I was working out in Augusta, Georgia, just some local PT clinic. And every time I threw the ball, my shoulder was killing me. And so I had to come to realize, I was like, all right, either my career's done or it's going to hurt every throw. And so either I got to suck it up and just do it, or I got to figure out another route. And I kept throwing, and I actually pursued and signed up for online classes at University of Phoenix. And it's life. You got to move forward one way or another. Yeah. There's no guarantee. So, and then one day, throwing, my shoulder popped again, and it was a sigh of relief. It was just scar tissue. The scar tissue broke up, and praise God that I haven't had any shoulders issues since. So after that, it was kind of a realization, like, I've got this. It's going to happen. And just continue to work. Try to work harder than everybody else, and just keep pushing forward one day at a time.
How long were you throwing with that shoulder pain before it finally went away?
Well, I rehabbed. It happened the last outing of spring training in 2011. And then I rehabbed until August in Florida, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. I had multiple MRIs, didn't really show anything. And then sure enough, in August, I had shoulder surgery. So that off season I was throwing, and it was a few months for sure. Wow. With just throwing with the pain and just having to deal with it and accept it, or, like I said, be done. And then, like I said, when it popped, it was kind of smooth sailing ever since on the shoulder aspect.
Yeah.
And so, things picked up a little bit, started doing well. Fast forward 2013, I actually get traded, or I get claimed by the Giants. And I got sent to Aies, and was having the best year of my career at that point. And then my elbow popped, and I blew out my elbow, had Tommy John surgery. But for me, I'd already been through the worst with the shoulder surgery. So it was a one-track mind at that point. Still, I knew what it was going to take, and that wasn't going to derail, and I wasn't going to have to sign up for University of Phoenix again at that point. I knew that I could do it. And, we rehabbed, and they have a phenomenal training staff, strength staff, and they helped me get back to where I needed to be. And the next year I made my debut.
Nice. Go for it.
I was going to say, is it like with Tommy John, are you coming back stronger than you were, pre-surgery? It seems like some guys like get Tommy John, now they're throwing like harder than they were pre-surgery.
Right. No, I definitely did start throwing harder. I started throwing harder after shoulder surgery, and then even harder after TJ.
Yeah.
But I don't think, we've got parents and kids wanting to be on surgery in high school and even
Yeah.
earlier nowadays.
Crazy.
I completely disagree with that. You know, I think that, yes, obviously you're having to reconstruct a ligament, but I think the strength phase, and you finally have an opportunity to train for a full year on all aspects of your body, eat right, get your arm right, do every bit of those things to get as strong as you possibly can. So I think that's honestly the key to it all.
Yeah.
Versus just having the surgery. If people want to have the surgery, I would just recommend them go train for a year and on all aspects and try to be the best that they can possibly be without having the surgery. And
Right.
I think that would take them to the same end result.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I was kind of asking the same question because I was wondering if when your shoulder popped and you had that good feeling, if you got velo back from that and ended up getting thrown faster.
Yeah, I did a little bit, and then they like I said, then they moved me into the relief role. I was starting at the time, and they moved me into the relief role, and it was just it's a different mindset. It's a different animal, I think. Just being available every day and not having to save yourself for 6-7 innings. You can go out there and just try to blow it out 1 or 2 innings and be ready again the next day.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely that aspect in the relief role fits my personality more. And so I think it was kind of everything playing into it.
Yeah. I was watching I don't know if it was on YouTube, something the other day, and it was NFL, and they were talking about like welcome to the league moments. Did you have a welcome to the MLB moment where you might have gone up against somebody and they just took you total yard, just, hey, welcome to the MLB kind of thing?
I'm a little worried where you're going with this, because I think you might have have done some homework too. No, I mean, honestly, when I got called up, man, it was wild. It was 2014. It was my rehab year, and I threw 9 innings or something like that, 9 innings in September, and then we went straight to the playoffs, and then it was a full different animal, and ended up going in. I pitched a lot in the playoffs, and we ended up winning the World Series. So it was kind of a surreal moment for me, and it was one of those things I couldn't even write a book, and dream about that happening, because we was just thrown into the fire right out the gate. It was crazy. It was an unbelievable experience, and then it was really humbling. At the parade, because I got to share a float with a Tim Hudson. I mean, this is a guy I grew up watching with the Braves, forever. And he'd been in the league for 16 years or so and never won a World Series. And I've been in there less than a month. And we're celebrating together on the same bus. It was incredible.
Yeah. Is it like you mentioned it going so quick? Is it hard to like grasp the moment just because it is going so quick, where you're like, oh my God, all that happened in less than a couple months here, won World Series, just got there. Like, did you ever have a moment where you like just breathed and just kind of soaked it all in?
I think after, once it was all done, in the moment, you don't have time to even think about it. Like, you gotta go one day at a time, one pitch at a time. And I mean, everything is just enhanced in that scenario. So, I mean, but like I said, at that point in my career, I had no idea. I mean, I've never done an interview. I was just some redneck from the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Got thrown into the rotation and played well.
I'm telling you, it was wild. But I mean, I cherish it more than anything. Like, it taught me a lot. And it was just it's a unreal experience. And that's why I'm still playing. I'm still like, you can't simulate that anywhere else. And I want it again.
That's awesome. Was there much difference with like the Nationals World Series and then the Giants in terms of like teammates, how you guys got there, etc.?
Yeah. I would say so, because it was kind of the same experience for me in a way, because I got traded over to the Nationals at the deadline, and I mean, I didn't know any of the guys. It was kind of the same scenario with the Giants. I just got up and we went into it. The Giants was a little different because they had already won 2. They had a core group of guys and veteran guys that have done it multiple times together.
Yeah.
And then you got me just throwing in there with them and just trying to find my place. And just trying to help wherever I can help. And so that aspect was very similar because, like I said, I got traded, and went right into it, met a whole new group of guys. But with the Nationals, it was a little different experience solely because a lot of those guys had never won it. And for me, I really like the celebration on the field after we won it in Houston was incredible because I got to kind of take a step back and look at a lot of these veteran guys, and it just, I don't know, it just kind of pulls your heartstrings a little bit because I appreciated it more for those guys than myself, because they've been doing this and grinding for so long. And just to see it come to fruition for them was a really cool experience, really exciting. And so I enjoyed it more for those guys than I did myself, to be honest with you.
That's awesome.
So I want to kind of take it a step back. I don't have any kids, but Jeff has 2 kids, and what are you doing? Baseball tryouts this Friday?
Yeah.
Because he's been coaching.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we've talked about just as guys sitting in a duck blind is all the kids nowadays, there's 8-year-olds playing fall ball, travel ball, this and that. And it's like, when I was that age, it was like, no, you played baseball, and then you played soccer, and then you played basketball, and then you did whatever else was, and you played all these sports. What's your thoughts on that, where like these kids are getting shoved into this year-round kind of, whether it's football or baseball? It's just interesting to me.
Really name the sport, and it's like that, kids, 8, 9, 10-year-olds playing 70 games a year, football nonstop, just crazy.
It's wild. It's wild. And now that you're coaching, you're busy. I know exactly where you're at.
Yeah. We don't do that. I'm just little league, but we played travel ball later, like when we were 15 and up, but not 8U, 9U, 10U, and they're playing little league at the same time and then doing fall ball and all that. I mean, what's your stance on all that? I have my own opinions on it, but kind of what are you seeing? What do you like, dislike?
I didn't grow up like that. Like I grew up playing all sports. I grew up where I had to go to work, where we had to go build houses. My personal opinion, it may rub some people the wrong way because, these parents that are in it, they're die hard. And I get it to an extent because, the game has changed in a lot of ways with the technology and all the resources. And, now that with Perfect Game, you can track every game for the kid's entire childhood, and I think that does pay dividends on the back end for a few of those kids, but I don't, especially now that I have kids, I'm not trying to rush their childhood. I think they should be a child. They should be a kid. They should enjoy it. They should enjoy family. And if they get an opportunity to go on vacations and, and play whatever sports that interest them, because I think there's a lot more benefits than just playing one sport and trying to perfect that craft. I think you can learn a lot of things as far as teamwork, responsibility, discipline, and multiple things. I mean, prime example for me is football. My high school football coach was, he was a hard-nosed guy, and discipline was something that we really learned under him, and I cherish that because that translates into baseball now for me. But like I said, I don't really believe in burning them out. I've seen too many kids get burnt out, and I've seen too many parents trying to push it too hard where it essentially is their dream, but not their kid's dream.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own life. Everybody has their own story. And, for my little girls, like it's not up to me to write their story. It's up to them, and so I don't necessarily agree with it to that extent, but I do think whenever you partake in it or whatever you're doing, whatever sport it is, you give it 100%. And there's, once you start something, you don't quit it. But again, I think that I'm okay with kids playing multiple sports and being a kid.
Yeah, that's kind of where we've taken it. And I've had the conversation with lots of dads, et cetera, that have played and whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you don't want your kid to be so far behind either, because there are like 9-year-olds where you're like, that is the best swing I've seen on a 9-year-old ever, right? But it's also people, what I tell myself is like, everyone develops differently. The best 8-year-old is not the best 15-year-old. The best 15-year-old is not the best 18-year-old. Everyone develops 100%. Quickly, but yeah, it's just like knowing folks and talking to other people. It's 60, 70 baseball games a year, no matter what the age. Pitching coach, hitting coach, etc. Don't play any other sports. Don't go on vacations. And you're like, okay, so when the kid's 18, that's all you've ever done, and the kid, let's say, gets hurt or doesn't want to play anymore, is burnt out. Like, to me, that none of that is worth it, going through it.
You can't get that time back.
No, I always was like, I want to go to the duck blind, right?
Yeah.
Like, what I mean? So I don't know. But
absolutely.
There's a lot of crazy out there.
I think we got a few more baseball related questions, and then we'll switch over to some duck hunting stuff. I was thinking about it last night, and we've had one of the guys that we are kind of close with plays for the 49ers, and asked him a similar question when he was on our podcast. Do you have a favorite stadium to pitch in and a least favorite stadium to pitch in?
Oh man. I really enjoy the history of the game. I kind of think myself of like the old school way still, and just adapting to the new way. So I really enjoy going to places like Wrigley and Fenway, and where there's so much history behind it, you can't look past it. I enjoy that. Granted, nowadays, like, the new Texas Stadium's incredible. It is like a high-end country club and phenomenal. So I enjoy that. As far as the worst, I'm still a free agent right now looking for a job, so I'm really don't talk.
You can't send anybody.
So,
because I'll go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, 4th of July, we went and watched. So we're Angels fans. So we went and watched the Angels and Aies. You actually pitched in relief, but there was like, I was texting Carson when I was there. I was like, we had lower section seats, and there was no one around us. Like, where there's 4 people. Like, playing in Oakland where there's no one there. Is it just odd? Because it's like, you can almost probably talk to the team like, hey, and everyone's can hear you talking. It was just huge stadium. There was
7,000 people in the seats.
no one there, and
it's definitely different.
Yeah.
It's definitely different. Because we feed off of the fans, the adrenaline, the atmosphere, like that. That plays a part into our game without a doubt. So Oakland's got a lot of history though, so you've got to take a step back and look past the just the seats, the empty seats, and appreciate that history. But also, yes, it is a little bit tougher in those scenarios. And granted, they're moving to Sacramento, and I heard, obviously it's a smaller venue, but I heard they're sold out every game already. So
yeah, the tickets are expensive. You played there as well with the River Cats. I mean, what's your thought of that being a major league stadium for the near future?
I think it'll be eventful for sure. I think it's great for Sacramento and that city. I do think that it will be a transition for some of the ball players. Like I said, I don't really need anything personally, so I'd go play there. I've already told them I'd play there. I like Sacramento. Maybe I can duck hunt a little bit more and create some better contact there. But no, I think it'll be great for the city, but it will definitely be a transition for Major League Baseball and the business side of things on that standpoint. But it'll be interesting to see, and it's not like it's been done before. I know the Rays, their stadium just got torn up with the hurricanes and stuff, so they're going to have to play at the spring training park from the Yankees. So it's kind of across the board. You just you make do with it, and just like anything, you just figure it out.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. It's like 45 minutes from my house, so it was like a lot better
than perfect
driving to the Bay Area and dealing with traffic and homelessness and all that stuff.
Right.
Did you have a batter, or still do, that's most difficult for you to pitch to, that just sticks out in your mind of like, this guy again?
There's a lot of good hitters out there. They get paid a lot of money to do what they do. So yes, there is a lot of hitters that give you more of a challenge, but I enjoy that. I think that makes me elevate my game more. Um, I would say there's a retired guy that I actually was fortunate enough to play with that was just a tough battle. And I don't even know how many times I faced him. I just knew watching him it was going to be a battle. And that's Ichiro.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, he's one of the best in the game.
Yep.
But he's going to find a way. You can't trick him. He's going to find a way to put the bat on the ball. And, you know, there's a lot of guys out there that are currently still playing that they technically have my number right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I want to kind of redeem myself and want that challenge again.
Yeah.
But I would say like Ichiro, you know, just that's a battle and he's not giving in. So,
Yeah,
but like I said, those are the fun parts. You know, you want to face the best.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about the AVES and how that whole thing started. And I know you sold it, but kind of what was the background in getting going in the waterfowl industry?
So I grew up whitetail hunting and rabbit hunting with my dad and brothers. And that was kind of what, you know, we were just introduced at a young age. And that was kind of when we're not playing ball or not working, that was our escape. And it was just something that we looked forward to on weekends that we got to do together. We got to just share a passion together. And that's kind of where it was bred into me. So going into, I believe it was like high school, maybe early high school or late middle school. I was with a buddy of mine. We were walking through his dad's property and we stumbled upon just a swamp, and there was, wood ducks everywhere. And we didn't know anything about waterfowl hunting. We just knew we liked to hunt and shoot guns, and you know that was just our way of life. And so we figured out. We did some research. We figured I got some waders. Figured it out. We went out there and we wore them out. I mean, it was a great time. And then from then on we got hooked. You know, because you guys know that's what you do. You know, so it's waterfowl. It's hard to simulate. You know, it's an experience you get to share with others, you know, versus just sitting in a deer blind and having to be quiet. You get to cut up, you know, and wood duck holes, they happen pretty quickly. You know, so that was kind of what started. And then as we grew, we just kept finding spots. We'd go ask people permission to go hunt, and, you know, I'd hunt as many places as we could. And then when I was with the Giants, I got to be good buddies with Jason Harrison, which was the founder of KUIU.
Yeah.
And so I started just really talking to him and came really close to him and a couple other guys in that area, and started wearing KUIU's products, started, you know, hunting big game in it, waterfowl in it, didn't matter, and just fell in love with the product itself. And then so I started thinking about, I was like, the waterfowl industry doesn't have anything like this, like the technical fabrics or anything like that, you know, other than Sitka, you know. And Jason, backstory on that real quick, he was one of the founders of Sitka, and then before he left to go start KUIU. So in, I believe it's 2015, I went up to Jason. I said, hey, why don't you expand the brand and start doing waterfowl? And he, incredible conversation. He said it's a no-brainer. That industry needs the technical fabrics and gear. He was like, but it takes away from my passion, which is mountain hunting, and it takes away from our brand. And so he wasn't interested in doing it, and rightfully so. I mean, I respect that. But what he told me, he says, if you're passionate about it and you really want to do this, he says, prove to me that you will. He was like, I could give you all the resources right here, and you could have top notch company right out the gate. He was like, but what good is that? He was like, you didn't learn anything, you didn't earn it, you know. And which I didn't want to be given anything either. I wanted to earn it. I wanted to learn. And so I did. I reached out to my brother Rhett, and we started just brainstorming, just dissecting the gear across the market at that time. And we created a business model, created the company, and so forth, and just did all of it, checked all the boxes that were necessary in that stage. And then he, in turn, he was kind of our mentor. and kind of helped lead the way in a few avenues, and then gave us, once we proved to him how serious we were about it, he gave us access to his manufacturer, Toray.
Okay.
And Toray's one of the leading manufacturers in the world. But Kuiu is the only one in the hunting industry that has access to Toray. And so it was at that point he made the connections and relationships, and we started creating our own relationships with Toray, and just kind of following his guide and his lead, and just started creating friendships between each other, and started working with Toray, and it was a phenomenal experience. It was definitely a lot more work than we anticipated, which it wasn't something that we were scared of. It was just something that we didn't know. You only know what you know. And it was, so we had a lot of learning to do. We created some products, created a camo pattern, and then hit the market. And it was, we had plenty of ups and downs without a doubt. But looking back on it, I talk to my wife about it periodically, is, that was my college experience right there. That was my college degree.
Yeah.
Because what I learned through Jason, and what I learned through just business and the business side of world, it was remarkable. I'm beyond grateful for, and then, fast forward, we sold the company in 2022. My brother is currently working for them full time. He's still leading the product design with AVES. And it's a phenomenal group. WTA, which is Worldwide Trophy Adventures. They're the ones that purchased AVES, and I mean, they've done phenomenal things. They have an incredible team. It was just, it was a blessing. It was the best thing for everybody at that stage in our lives. Because for me, I realized very quickly is I'm still playing baseball. Like this job and this company and this, if we want it to go where it needs to go, it needs somebody that can invest and be there full time, day to day. And at the stage I was at that point, I couldn't do that. Mm-hmm. So it was I still wear it every day. Very, very passionate about it, believe in it. Phenomenal products. It's top notch. And now they, like I said, they've got some top notch people running it now.
Yeah. What's the favorite product you have? Because I know the one that I've seen most just in running hunts for the general public is the blind bag, the dry bag, the backpack style dry bag. But what's your favorite product that you guys created?
Yeah, that's neat, because it was it was kind of a very versatile piece where you can use it as a backpack or a blind bag. It had built-in shelves. We loved it. Still do. We created a mini one just for people that don't want to carry that much stuff, or need their hands or whatever it may be. The Drifter series, which was our first series that we came out, was the most versatile piece, and we just tried to hit a market where it could accommodate everybody. Down here in Georgia, we're hunting completely different climates than you guys in California or somebody in Minnesota or whatever that may be. And so we just tried to hit it in that aspect. But to be honest with you, I don't really like getting cold too much. And the bearing system, which is a new bib and jacket system, is fully waterproof, fully insulated. That's honestly probably my favorite now.
Nice.
And then they have, they've got solid colors. They got our camo pattern and just multiple options now.
Like, was there, like, during the process of building some of the products, was there one that you thought that was going to be awesome, and then you guys like never brought it to market or anything like that, and kind of the challenges of doing that?
It's still in the works, actually, is the wader system. And because obviously duck hunting, you need waders. I mean, I know a lot of people hunt dry fields or whatever, but for the most part, the wader is the most essential piece in a duck, in a duck hole. So it was something that we were really, really, diving deep into, and trying to just accommodate a new boot system that was more beneficial for everybody, because the traditional standard waders have a regular waterproof boot that every time you step in the mud and pull your foot out, the boot's stuck, but your foot comes out. And just trying to create more of a form-fitting boot to accommodate that and to eliminate that issue. And like I said, that's something that's definitely still in the pipeline for the company.
Nice. How difficult?
But it is a challenge.
How challenging is it? I mean, most of these companies are based in the U.S. You got to go overseas. Is it mostly Skype calls, Zooms, or are you guys actually over there in person making sure that everything is going right and all that?
Yeah, I mean, both. The Torre, they actually have an office and facility in San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
So that was very, very beneficial because I could just, we could ride right over, just go over some products and feel the products and discuss it back and forth. The guy that was here when I was in San Francisco, kind of our main contact, he recently transitioned back to Japan. So now he travels back and forth. So most of the calls are with him or via phone call or Skype or whatever, Zoom. But him and his team actually flew to the States this past season and came out to LA and had him out for a game and, got to meet him up there, bring him on the field. And just, it's more of they're very, very like just loyal and just great people, great community. And yeah, I mean, it's just more of a friendship than anything now. Obviously we're business, we work together and business partners but it's the friendship and camaraderie and just I guess the love with that,
That's awesome.
It's most important.
That's cool.
So I see a lot of sports players, especially baseball players, that are out now in whether it's the waterfowl industry or deer hunting with the buck commander guys, all those guys, and people posting on Instagram. Why do you think like the sports world, especially baseball, and then the outdoors hunting in specific, overlap so much?
I think it's a challenge. Hunting is definitely a challenge, and I think that ball players, whatever that may be, football, baseball, basketball, it doesn't matter. I think we just kind of feed off of that challenge. But it also, like we discussed earlier, it's for baseball's benefit. It's it's wide open then. So I think the challenge, I think the camaraderie, because sports it's just a brotherhood, and I think hunting's the same way. You just continue that brotherhood in a different avenue. And you get to share it by a campfire. You get to share it in a cabin. You get to share it in the duck blind or whatever that may be. It's not easy. People think that you just walk out there and you just shoot ducks. It ain't. It don't work that way. It's a challenge. You got to go out there and you got to put the work in, and it's rewarding. And you get to do that together. And I just think doing that and life is meant to be shared, no matter what you're doing. And I think that's the ultimate key for me. Is just getting to do that and just getting to create new memories with people. And I don't know, man, it's not there. People that have never done it just don't understand, but going out and just enjoying a sunrise or a sunset and, whatever you may be doing, and just getting to experience and appreciate God's creation and watch these animals work or these species work. Like it's phenomenal and it's peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think the world needs a lot more peace, to be honest with you. And that's one way that we kind of fulfill that need in our lives.
Yeah. Growing up and where you did, a lot of whitetail and rabbit, like you're saying, have you started or have you pursued Western big game, elk, antelope, mule deer yet? Has that, you checked those off?
Yeah, no, I killed an elk with my younger brother.
Okay.
And it was, the typical last day of the hunt type deal. And it happened, and it's not like a monster or anything, but it was that experience. So elk hunt's a challenge.
Yeah.
I think waterfowl will kind of always have my heart in that aspect, because there's a lot that I share with that and that we've done within the industry. But if I could pursue one thing, like it would be elk is a challenge. Elk is fun, and I haven't even been fortunate enough to do it during the rut yet. So,
you didn't even have it during the rut, so you haven't had
no,
the best part of it.
No, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I shot a bull in Colorado. He was screaming his head off, and my dad was with me. It's like, you just can't. There's nothing. I mean, turkey hunting, they call it the poor man's elk hunting because you communicate. But when you got a 800-pound animal screaming at you, there's something different. It changes you.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Good for you.
Yeah, it's a different kind of experience. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. When I'm officially done playing, I'm 1 September. I'm going somewhere. There's no question.
Oh
yeah, heck yeah. I have not participated in any of that stuff yet. I don't.
You've done antelope though.
Well, antelope, yeah, but the elk stuff,
yeah,
not. I shouldn't say that. I haven't drawn any tags either.
It's true.
And I'm not.
Well, that might play a part.
Yeah. Well, dude, we have like 17, 18 points or something like that in our state. But then I think I got 5 or something for Wyoming. But we'll check that box off one of these days. What about your kids? Do you bring your girls out duck hunting or deer hunting or anything?
My oldest is 7, and I've actually had her in the deer stand this past year. She pointed out a buck before I saw it.
There you go.
You know, she's not the one that I would have anticipated would have enjoyed it, because she's phenomenal at dance and just very petite and just a girl, you know, just a princess, you know. But when I got her in that deer stand, it was a different smile, and I loved it, you know. So I'm looking forward to it. My 2 youngest, they're not there yet. There's no way we would see anything.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just, you can't keep them quiet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to just sharing all these experiences with them. Try to get them outside as much as we can. We're not big believers on, you know, video games and all that stuff, and just staying inside. I think if the weather permits, we should all get outside. I think it's best for everybody.
I agree with that. It's harder and harder now these days with people being more in urban settings. I grew up pretty rural country, but you know, my kids aren't going to grow up the way I grew up, but we try to go fishing, and my daughter's not there yet, but my son tags along. But no, I think more people spending time in the outdoors would help everybody.
Right. And I think to that point, I think that even if they don't necessarily, like, that's not their first choice, when they look back and they grow up, they're gonna remember these days, and they'll cherish them more than they do now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, just last night we randomly got a bunch of old pictures down from when I was a little kid and my wife, and it was pretty funny just to kind of remember a lot of those things, like being out in the field, snowmobiling or whatever, and then my kids are like, "Oh, this is daddy or this is mommy." It's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is cool.
But want to go back into the baseball stuff a little bit. I mean, you've had your ups and downs. So any young athlete, what advice would you give them to persevere and just kind of keep going to hit their dream?
Oh man. Actually, I stopped by our high school field yesterday on the way home. I did a U-turn because I saw a bunch of trucks up by the ball field, and I was like, I gotta go be a part and see what's
right
going
on.
Support these kids. And they were having middle school tryouts, and one of the kids was, he you know, just kind of tough times. He'd belt some injuries a little bit and just down in the dumps. And you know, that's life. You know, in baseball, if you fail 7 times, you're a Hall of Famer. It's a game of failure in that aspect. So I think just learning to deal with that. And you got to have fun. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a kid's game, you know. And I don't know if you guys know, but I was 2023. I actually came home and considered retirement, and had made peace with it, was done training kids and just trying to give back to the community and the next generation. And I was training kids here at my barn, and I kept telling them, I was like, no matter what happens, you can't control the results, but you can control your work ethic, your preparation, and you can have fun, you know. And you just got to leave it all out there. And no matter what happens, at the end of the day, you can sleep well at night. And I kept telling them this, and I was like, I don't know, it just got a burning sensation within me, because I knew that I could still do it. And I was thinking to myself, how am I going to preach what I don't act? You know? And so I told him, I said, well, I'm going to go train. I'm going to give it 100%. If it works out, I'll go somewhere. If it don't work out, then we're not, you know, then I'll continue training you guys, and I'll be home. I'm perfectly fine being home with my family. And it worked out. We got a job with the Angels last year, and it was a good year. So persistence is one thing, and just to find a way to have fun. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, because we're our biggest enemies. And I think that for so long in my career, I had put such an emphasis on results, because it is a result oriented game, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we're our biggest enemy. So just get out of our own way, and it allows some freedom, and just a reminder of, be a kid, have fun with it, accept the failure, but learn from it and get better, and at the end of the day, like I said earlier, I'm a firm believer in working harder than everybody else, because that's the only thing you can control. And if you do that, you put yourself in a position to succeed, and success might not be in that avenue, but it's going to come somewhere. And that, it's, so for me, again, it's just to have fun. Don't beat yourself to death, and just work hard. Enjoy the ride.
That's some great advice, man. I think the pressure thing and just having fun, and baseball's supposed to be fun, right? So
it is.
That's awesome that you're
if it's not fun, why are we doing it?
Yeah.
I know it's a job for me now, but I can work anywhere. I can go do a job. I could work and be home with my family, but there's a sacrifice no matter what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So
you can go for it.
Oh, go for it.
Talking about, you were saying, you contemplated retirement. Do you have a retirement plan? Are you planning on just staying home, training young kids and hunting? Is that the future goal?
Well, I've gotten, since AVES and the business venture, like I've really gotten into some real estate and just managing some properties. Cool. So we've got a couple of different properties that we manage and just lease out to tenants. It's funny you ask, because my wife and I were pulling carpet and ceiling tiles out of an old 1930 house yesterday morning, and just remodeling a house. So we'll definitely do that. But I've got plans with a couple partners back here. We're going to create a big sports complex.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're going to do field. We're going to do everything: the fields, the indoor facility, and then just try to give back and give the next generation something that we didn't have. Because I grew up throwing to a tire swing and a piece of plywood. So it's just trying to give back to the community and just the future generations, and just help somebody, if it's their passion, to just help them, give them every opportunity to succeed if we can be a part of it.
Yeah. That's a great plan.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You need to get back on that roof. Get the phone calls going.
You're not wrong. You're right. I'm still waiting, so we'll see.
Right on, man.
That's awesome.
Hunter, dude, just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. It's been awesome talking to you about duck hunting, Little League, and just baseball in general, and great advice for everyone that has an aspiring young kid or someone in college or high school. So just want to say thank you so much for joining us, and it's been a pleasure talking to you, man.
Same here. Thank you guys for having me, honestly.
Yeah,
awesome.
We appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Save It for the Blind podcast. You can find our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.